The ROG Xbox Ally X continues to sell out. So we are in a very weird time in the video game industry with the price of hardware increasing. Handheld PCs, handheld consoles are extremely expensive. You look at things like the Lenovo Legion Go Gen 2 pushing over $1,000. If you want the lowest end without a Z2 Extreme, it's over $1,000. If you want to go higher than that, you're probably spending around $1,350, $1,400 for the Z2 Extreme and 1 terabyte of memory. And then you have the Xbox Ally X and the Xbox Allies that are coming out here in just a few days. And those here are just under 1,000, just under starting price of $1,000. 1 cent, $999.99 is what you'll be paying here for the ROG Xbox Ally X. And you would think because of the price of these devices and the price of hardware, and generally where consoles do fit in is the more affordable option, the convenience, and they try to sell as many as possible because of those things, that yeah, the ROG Xbox Ally X would not be the top seller. It would probably be the ROG Xbox Ally that comes in at $599 at $600, which is still expensive, but it is under actually what's been coming out recently with the most recent releases in hardware when you think about the PlayStation 5 Pro and now you think about these handhelds. So that is not the case. The case right now is that the ROG Xbox Ally X continues to sell out, while the regular version is readily available for people who do want to go out there and get their hands on one of those devices. We have this here that the ROG Xbox Ally X continues to sell out while standard version remains more readily available, seemingly that most people are interested here in the X version of the console. With just over a week to go, before we get these in our hands, and you'll see a lot of people testing them out and doing comparisons and things like that. And that will be very interesting to track myself as well. I'll hopefully be getting these on day one and then being able to put out some videos with the actual devices in my hands here. It says that the devices that the ROG Xbox Ally X, which is the more premium and the more expensive one, is selling out here, while Buyer's Guide from late September says that the Ally X has sold out at many retailers in different regions right now. In the UK, it seemingly is unavailable to pre-order at any retailer as things stand. Now, here in Canada, it is more expensive, so the comparison isn't as one-to-one because you are spending $1,300 for this device for the Xbox Ally X, and this one is still readily available. The pre-order button here, as I've been checking on bestbuy.ca, has flickered on and off, but as of right now, as I'm making this video, you can actually go out and still pre-order one of these devices. But like I said, $1,300 is a even harder sell than $1,000. I mean, that's a huge difference here. And you have to ask, is the price value ratio there? Is it worth it here with the Z2 Extreme? We are seeing many tests come out with the Z2 Extreme, and yes, there is a performance gain. You're going to have great gaming experiences on this because with the Z1 Extreme, you still have great gaming experiences. But the actual big advantage here isn't as massive as people had or maybe have in their minds. I mean, you're going to get maybe a 20% boost depending on the wattage you're using it at. It will also depend on the games that you are playing. And the other thing here is if you're playing games that can perform well at lower TDP, then you will have, I think, a actually much bigger jump than if you're playing bigger AAA games where you're using the highest TDP there comparatively to the Z1 Extreme. But aside from that, the big selling points of this is going to be the software inside of it with the Xbox full screen experience. Obviously, the ergonomics. Everything I've heard is that this is the best feeling and comfort handheld that you can get, because it's literally like holding an Xbox controller. For me, the Xbox controller is the best controller, is the one that I use for everything that I can that will take the Xbox controller. I find it the most comfortable for my hands. I like the layouts of the sticks and the buttons and everything. So basically having that in your hands with the screen in between, to me, is a huge win. One of the big things with handheld gaming that people do sometimes overlook is that how long can you hold it in your hands before they start to cramp? You look at something like the Nintendo Switch or the Switch 2, if you don't get anything additional, you basically are cramping up right away. With the Switch and the Switch 2, I find, at least for me, there's literally no point in even playing that thing in handheld unless you have gotten better grips on it or better Joy-Cons attached to it that are more ergonomic. But this, you don't have to worry about that. You're getting this thing right in your hand. So that as well is a big selling point. And the battery life will be improved. So we'll see if the value is there for the price. I think you're going to get some good stuff out of it. But gamers, as much as we see the complaining online, it really, I think, does show us that there's just a lot of noise on social media that doesn't actually translate into the real life events that do occur when it comes to these releases. These are expensive items. They're selling out in many places. If you would have just based it off of the social media noise, you would have thought that this handheld would have been dead on arrival, which clearly, as of right now, based off of the pre-orders, it is not the case at all. But we do continue on here and look at some of the pre-order numbers. They say here there are no figures floating around about how many people have actually pre-ordered each version, but it certainly feels like the Ally X is the most popular so far. In their poll, 20% of pure Xbox voters told us that they are going for the Ally X, while only 3% went for the standard Ally. And they say, meanwhile, the standard Xbox Ally is still available at more retailers in more regions, and therefore it seems Microsoft and Asus allocated a greater amount of stock for that version in particular. And I feel like they did that because they are probably looking at the price of these things themselves and thinking, this is being put into the console market, and generally people look for the lower price thing when it does come to the consoles, if at least those things sell more than the higher priced premium version. But I feel like there is a little bit of a different place here for the handheld PCs and for the handheld consoles. They do have that kind of laptop field market. We will see so many of these. You never see people asking, why are there so many laptops on the market? And you have just such a wide range of devices, and the higher end laptops do still sell relatively well here. So I think you can see the same thing with this. I also think that people are chasing just the closest we can get to the full console experience in our hands in terms of performance, and the Z2 Extreme is getting us one step closer to that experience. So I do see these continuously selling out. You do get the future proof of it with the AI chip in there from the Z2 Extreme, which hopefully will be utilized properly and be able to get games to run well for years to come. But when it comes to the lower end version, right now, the comparisons we are seeing is closer to the Steam Deck, slightly more powerful than the Steam Deck, but closer to the Steam Deck with that Z2A chip. And you have to ask yourself, how long will this handheld last before you're going to be wanting to get an upgrade? Because the Steam Deck will have a Steam Deck 2 at some point. They have said that they're not really going to do anything unless there's a massive generational leap here in chips. And I just don't think we are there yet. But when that does hit, you'll get a Steam Deck 2. Will be more expensive, of course. But how long will the regular Ally last? You'll probably get a few years out of it, depending on the games that you do play on the device. That is also a massive factor here, because if you're just playing side scrollers and less demanding games, you'll be fine with the Ally for basically a decently long time here. But if you're looking to play more AAA experiences, I think you're going to be left wanting more here if you don't get the Ally X. So that's probably what a lot of people are thinking. That's probably why it is selling out. And the enthusiasts are the ones that do buy these things right at launch. So we'll see how this thing does. Right now, it is looking successful in terms of the pre-order numbers. And then going forward, will it continue to sell out? It's kind of the same thought I had with the PlayStation 5 Pro. We saw that thing sell out right away at the expensive price. And I said, well, this is a good sign for the start, but where you really see how successful these devices are a year or so after they do come out. And are people still going out there and buying it? Because the hyper enthusiasts are going to purchase these things up on day one, but it is the mass market where the adoption needs to come in if they are going to be extremely successful. And in 2 years, who knows where the handheld market is going to be? Will there be more Xbox handhelds on the market by that point? That is yet to be foreseen. I can see it happening, but we won't know until we get there. I'm going to leave the video there. Let me know what you think about this. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.